Israel's government recently approved a plan to build tens of thousands of new homes in Harish, with the aim of creating a new major city in the country's center. But the move is coming under fire due to the potential environmental hazards. Uri Shapira has more.
It's supposed to be one of Israel's most ambitious housing projects. Last week, the Israeli government approved a plan worth up to $250 million to build tens of thousands of new homes in Harish, once a kibbutz of only a few dozen families, but which now may become a major city in the center of Israel.
Israel hasn't faced such a project since the birth of the nation. We are talking about 10 to 15,000 new residents a year.
But despite the optimism, not all is bright. Recently, the Menashe Regional Council, where Harish is located, voiced some objections to the expansion of Harish. The reason? Environmental hazards and poor air quality due to charcoal produced in nearby Palestinian villages.
We and the Israeli Ministry of Environment and the IDF managed to close the charcoal industries located in Palestinian Area C. Surprisingly, they relocated them to Area A and B in the Palestinian territory. There are hundreds of charcoal production spots in the area that bring this heavy smoke. It is impossible to live in some parts of this area.
According to a 2011 report by the Israeli Ministry of Environmental Protection, the area is rich with dangerous materials, including formaldehyde, which believed to cause cancer. Udi Razmovich, a former resident of the area, told us about his unfortunate experience, which caused him to leave the area.
One night we decided to leave the window open and the smoke returned. A day later we had to go to the hospital as my son suffered from severe respiratory problems. My young daughter was born early. When my wife was only in her 6th month, we didn't even think about a connection. But according to a report by Professor Eliyahu Richter, the materials in the air can cause premature birth.
But Harish Mayor Yitzhak Keshet thinks the accusations are exaggerated.
I've lived in Harish for 10 years and I've never heard about severe cases like those you mentioned. We are aware of the problem and are working to solve it. If the Israeli government decided to invest $250 million in the city, I'm sure we can fix this small issue.
The Israeli government intends to make Harish one of the biggest and most significant cities in the country. But as long as environment and politics clash in the area, the dreams of a new and modern town may be drowned in a thick cloud of smog.
And with me right now here in the studio is Uri Shapira, I-24 News correspondent. Good evening.
Good evening, Lucy.
So let's hear first of all the reaction coming from the Environment Ministry.
Okay, the Ministry of Environment Protection said it's acting to stop the charcoal production and managed to completely stop the activity in Area C. Area C, by the way, it's controlled by Israel as opposed to Area A and B that under Palestinian authorities. We continued our intense enforcement to prevent transportation of tree stumps from Israeli areas to the charcoal industries in the West Bank. The Ministry of Agriculture should force the farmers to take care of the stumps. This is what they have to say.
Of course. So, but the main story is the story behind the story that you brought us today, and it's something else.
Yes, of course, there's a regional and political dispute over the land, over the territory, but the real story is the charcoal industry, which is a very cruel industry, I might say. There's around 10,000 Palestinians working in this industry. Many of them are underage. Severe damage to the health, pollution.
And this is basically something that also the Ministry of Environment and the Palestinian Authority know about, but nobody's doing anything to prevent it.
Well, there are no restrictions in this industry. Actually, I heard an assumption that Israel is not doing anything because they're afraid that if they stop this industry, that many people will become unemployed and they'll turn to terrorism.
Everything is connected to everything. Yes, of course. Uri Shapira, thank you very much.
Thank you very much
for this. Let's hope that these are just assumptions.